So, today we're going to talk about something that feels like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's actually becoming very, very real. We're talking about building your own personal AI employee, one that can put your life and your business on autopilot.
To really get our heads around this, let me just ask you one question. What if you had an employee that worked 24/7? No coffee breaks, no weekends off, no vacations. Just always on, always working for you.
The incredible potential here really boils down to this one number, 8,760. That's how many hours are in a year. You know, a great human employee might give you 2,000 of those. A digital employee, it can give you every single one.
And that brings us to this incredible concept, the 9,000-hour employee. It's a totally new way to think about getting things done.
The fancy term for this is a digital full-time equivalent, or digital FTE. But I want you to focus on those last two words, proactively manage. This isn't just a chatbot sitting there waiting for you to type something. This is an agent that sees a problem and takes initiative all on its own.
All right, so let's really see what this means in practice. Let's put this new digital FTE head-to-head with a traditional human employee. Okay, and this is where things get wild. Just look at the numbers here. Availability goes from 40 hours a week to 168 hours. That's literally around the clock. And the cost? The cost per task just plummets from several dollars down to just cents. This isn't a small improvement. This is a fundamental economic shift in how work gets done. And look, if you ever needed to make a business case for this, this is the only slide you'd need. We're talking about an 85 to 90% cost saving. As the author points out, that's the kind of number that doesn't lead to a long meeting. It leads to an immediate, yes, let's do this.
All right, so the why is a total no-brainer. It's compelling. But what about the how? How does one of these AI employees actually work? Let's pop the hood and take a look.
You know, it's actually pretty simple. The whole thing works on a three-step loop that's basically modeled on how a person works. First, it perceives the world. It sees something new. Then it reasons. It thinks about what to do next. And finally, it takes action. Perceive, reason, act.
So let's break that down, starting with perception. You can think of these as the AI's senses, its eyes and ears. The system uses these little scripts called watchers. They're constantly scanning your digital life, your Gmail, WhatsApp, your files, just waiting for a trigger.
Now, the second a watcher spots something important, it sends that information over to the brain. In this case, that's a powerful AI model like Claude. This is the engine that actually does the thinking. It looks at the info, it checks the rules you've set, and it comes up with a step-by-step plan.
And then finally, you need the hands to actually execute that plan. The AI uses a special set of tools that let it interact with other apps. This is what gives it the power to literally send an email for you, or fill out a web form, or click a button in another program.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Is it really safe to have an AI just running around your digital life? And that is a huge question. That's why a human-in-the-loop system is absolutely critical. The simple, low-risk stuff, it gets auto-approved. But anything sensitive, we're talking payments over $100 or deleting files, that stuff requires your explicit permission, no exception. So when you put all these pieces together, what do you get? Well, you get what the author calls the killer app of this whole system. This is where the AI stops being just an assistant and becomes a real strategic partner.
So get this, instead of you having to dig through data to create a report, the AI just does it on its own. It audits your entire week's activity, it matches up your bank transactions with the tasks you completed, and then it generates a Monday morning CEO briefing. It tells you how much money you made, where your projects are getting stuck, and even gives you ideas on what to do about it.
And we are not talking about vague advice here. Imagine waking up on Monday to a message like this. Your AI isn't just completing tasks anymore. It's actively looking for ways to make your business better and save you money. That's the leap from being a tool to being a teammate. So when you zoom out and look at the big picture, you start to realize this is way bigger than just a new productivity app. This really points to a fundamental change in how we're all going to be working with AI. What we're seeing is this massive shift from what we call prompt engineering to agent engineering, and the difference is all about initiative. With prompt engineering, you tell a reactive AI exactly what to do. But with agent engineering, you just design the system, you set the goals, and the AI, a proactive agent, figures out the how all by itself.
Look, this stuff isn't some far-off science fiction dream. It's being built as we speak. So that really just leaves one final question for you. If your own personal AI employee showed up for its first day of work tomorrow, what's the very first thing you'd have it do?